2 days ago I actually announced it out aloud that I am
Right.
committed to 100% speak the truth, even if it hurts somebody else, no matter
Yes.
how tiny the issue is or whatever, that I will always speak the truth. Always speak the truth.
Yeah, I love that. You know the funny part about that? I mean, I've been in a couple of situations more than once, and I'm sure you have too, where you have to sort of confront someone and speak to them about a difficult situation, but a truthful situation you think might hurt them. Almost every time I've done that from the heart, from the truthfulness, from the universal connection, the other person's gone, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I should, blah, blah, blah. I think now, based on what we're saying, is if an ego then tries to do that with another ego, then defense comes up and then someone says, oh, Lenny, how mean. You're so mean to call me that or tell me that truth. How dare you? Whereas when there's no ego there from either side, both sides can feel into the truth.
Welcome to Galactic Guidance, the show that channels the wisdom of beings from higher realms. Join us as we tap into the cosmic consciousness and receive messages of clear guidance to help us navigate our spiritual evolution on planet Earth. So sit back, relax, and let's connect into the higher frequency. Hello, everybody. This is Eleni and Marcus.
Hello. So good to be here.
So good to be here. One of my very favorite time slots of the week, where we have the honor of speaking to a higher dimensional being called Ahmed, which Marcus channels, and I get to ask questions. And I love having these conversations and these discussions because we are receiving guidance from a higher being. We are seeing things from a different perspective and a higher perspective because we're very, very limited here on earth as to how we see everything. We still see things in the constructs of what we've been taught is right, is wrong, is a should not. And so when we get the perspective of a high dimensional being, it just broadens our horizons and opens up anything that is possible for us to explore. And so, yay, Marcus.
Yay.
Whenever you're ready to
Yeah,
go.
let's do that. It's been an interesting few weeks, or an interesting last week anyway, energetically, and so and let's see where we go.
Let's see where we go.
All
Let's see
right.
what we do. And just as
Okay.
Marcus is going into that state, the format is that Ahmed will come through. I will ask a question, and once Marcus finishes the channel, Marcus and I discuss the points that were raised and what were discussed at the very end so that we give our perspective.
It is with much joy that we come here to speak with you within this co-creative experience, the ability for us to be together, to be part of the amazing, wonderful, co-creative nature of this universal aspect of reality. Much joy and much pleasure for being here.
It's my honor and my pleasure that you are here too. I mean, I'm so happy. I've got a question that is sort of a carry-on question from last week, and I would just love a definition from you. First of all, just to start the discussion, which is one of my favorite topics of all time is about the ego, and we've discussed this last week. But because I'm absolutely fascinated with the ego and the way that it works, and I'm watching it very carefully. Can you give me a definition from your perspective as to what is ego?
This is much of the interesting concept for us to be in the discussion of. This the concept of the ego-ness is one that is existing in this dimensional reality. As you expand through and past, and you expand into the fullness of your true aspect, the soul aspect of existence, then this nature, this ego nature needs will dissipate and disappear. It does not need to continue to be a part of your experience. The expansiveness of the self, of the ego, of the soul aspect of the self will mean that the ego aspect can dissipate and start to reduce its influence on your existence, on your moment by moment experience of this dimensional reality. You ask much the question about what is this ego self? What is the concept of the ego progression? And as we have mentioned in the past, the part of the devolutionary nature of your existence was the construct of this ego creation, this ego aspect of your existence. And much of it was created from the fear space. Much of it was created from the concept of the survival space. But in this expansive moment of existence, in this opportunity to expand out into the fullness of who you are, part of this ego, and this aspect must now be transitioned, transformed, transcended, and begin the dissolving process for the ego-ness. Much of this eagerness was there from the protection factor, was there to much of the hiding of those aspects of you that you wish not to be seen, those aspects of you that are of the embarrassment nature. You mentioned before the concepts, these concepts of the shameness, these concepts of the hiddenness of aspects of your reality. These aspects in the expanded nature of the soulness, they will not need to be in the hiddenness. Much of the devolution is that you have gone against the true nature, the universal nature of your soul aspect. When this happens, when a species de-evolves and more of the not truthness is allowed to be participated in. What we are trying to say, there is a natural order, there is a natural reality in the universal existence. When you are of the expansion of consciousness, you understand what is the things that you should be participating in, and those things that you must that you need to not to participate in. When you are of the universal nature, you understand what is the rightness and what is those aspects, those things you participate in that go against the soul aspect of reality. As a highly evolved being, as your channel calls us, in the fullness of our nature and our existence, we don't have this concept of the ego. We only have the concept of the truth, the reality of our existence, which means we know not what to not do. We know not to harm another. We know not to cross of another. We know not of the stealing and of the deception of another. We don't have these concepts because we live in the natural state of the universe, in an expanded version of ourselves, and we are connected into the everything. And so we understand that when we go against the universal nature of reality, this only does the harm of the self. This does not harm the other, but very much harms the self. So we choose to participate in the universe, in the interconnected nature of the universe, where it is not of the advantage to go against the universal construct. When you are de-evolved and when you started to go against the universal construct, to no longer be in the harmonic resonance of the universal reality, then you needed to construct something to give you the excuses, to give you the permission to go against this natural order. This permission was granted through the construct of the ego aspect of the self. The ego aspect of the self allows for the protection against or the protection of actions that go against the universal nature of reality. This is the much of the deeper truth of this egotistical, as you call it, nature. This is why it is no longer serving you any much of the longerness, because you don't need to of the hiding anymore. It is much of the importance. If you are to step into the next evolution, the next expansion of your reality, the next evolution of the consciousness, then you must allow this to dissolve. In the dissolving of this aspect, then more of the truth will appear. And your construct of this shame concept is much of the importance to release these concepts of shaming, or the guiltness of wishing that you had not done what you had done, the reluctance or the regrets of going against the universal nature, against your human nature, against your soul aspect nature, going against the things that you know are much of the rightness. This is the construct of the ego nature, which is now in the devolutionary process.
So would you say, this is pretty fascinating, the perspective that you just given me. I've actually not read that anywhere the way that you've put it in your words, which is really quite fascinating. I can't wait to process it later. So would you say that it's a mental program? Like I know you said the ego was given to us as a protection of the self when the self was disconnected from the soul, to give the self almost a permission to do things that are misaligned with the soul. But would you say that this is a mental program? It's not a separate entity as such. It's a mental program that the more we use it, the stronger it becomes. Is that what the ego is? Is that how we can define it?
It is very much the overlaying construct in the mental technology and the mental aspect of the human experience, but it not just in the mental aspect that you might understand from a purely a mental minded point of the view. It is much more of an overlay of the whole construct of the human experience, both in the mental overlay and the heart overlay and the Dantean overlay. This has been a construct that has been created in and through this experience of your journey in this theme park. And it is one of the constructs that you are attempting to dissolve, to express past this ego nature of your reality. It is held in a construct of consciousness. When you expand past the level of consciousness that you have been of the experience, then the ego will just begin the devolution process. It will dissolve itself. It is much like if you grow out of the clothing. If you had some clothing and you begin to grow out of the clothing, if you continue to wear that clothing, it begins to tighten around you. It begins to restrict your ability to move and to be of the fullness of the expression. In this case, the ego is the clothing that is no longer of the fittingness, and eventually it will just break down. It will just rip in the most much uncomfortable places. It will begin just to dissolve. You can assist in this process with the conscious awareness of expanding through and past this aspect of this species experience.
What's the likelihood in my lifetime that I will completely dissolve the ego program within me?
We would much of the ask the question is what part of this do you wish to have the happening? You ask them a question that is a containment a question. It is a question that has the barriers and the containment. And what we mean is that anything is much of the possibleness. You can expand past this any moment you wish. One of the difficulties that this living experience has, this dimensional experience has, is that you continue to be of the limited nature, asking whether it's possible to do this or to do this or to do that. And we tell you, as we have many times before, that you live in an infinite universe. You have the ability to to activate everything and anything that you wish. The only thing that holds this back, that slows this down, that restricts this opportunity is the mindscape itself. When the mindscape believes there is a barrier, there is a wall, there is not possible to expand through or past, then it becomes of the trappedness. You may expand past your ego self whenever you are of the wishness to do such. This is not a difficult process. This is not a process that may not of the never happen. This can be of the happening any time that you wish for this to of the happen. And we tell you about this with many of other aspects that you exist in, that you believe there is a wall and much more of the barrier around you that does not allow you to expand through or past. And this is just a figment of the imagination. This is not the truth of the universal construct. Anything muchness is of the possibility. Many of you are starting to experience this of the possibility. And this will allow you to expand much more of the quickiness and much more of the furtherness out and fulfill into the fullness of who you are.
I love that. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. We just need to know that it is. Everything is. We just have to keep affirming that over and over and over again. Thank you so much, Hamid, for this beautiful conversation. I so appreciate you, and I love the energy that you bring forward, and I'm bathing in your energy right now, and I love it.
And we wish to pass this information to you that you can expand into any aspect that you wish to expand in. You don't need to of the waitingness to watch others to do this and to have the examples. One of the expressions of this journey is that you need people to be here to show you what is the possible. This is why there is many of your what you call maybe the deities, the being that you call the Jesus and the beings that you call the Buddha. These were living examples of the infiniteness of the possibility. When the stories are spoken of this Jesus energy, where there was much of the instant creativeness, where there was the creation of the fish and the wine and the manifestation of the healing aspects. This was a living example of the infinite possibility. And every now and again, where there is one that is sent to exist on this planet to be the living example of these infinite possibilities. What we have seeing in the expression in this moment is there are many who are stepping into this reality, who are becoming these examples of the infinite possibility of being in these spaces, to break free from the construct of the ego self, as you as you expressed. But we are here to let you know that everyone can be this person. You all have the access to the infinite nature of the universal reality. And it is possible for you to be this example. In any given moment, you can be of this example. You just have to make of the choosing. You just have to breathe in and expand into that reality. It is much of the possibleness.
I love this. Thank you so much.
Much blessings, much love. She didn't want to go. she's hanging there. She didn't want to go, and I'm going, we got to go. And she's like, I don't want to go. I'm going, I know you don't want to go.
I didn't want her to go either.
I know.
It's just that I know
She
Marcus
didn't want to
has got to
go.
go.
She did
Otherwise,
not
I
want to
could have
go.
continued. I can
Far
continue
out.
forever. I can talk to Ami forever. You were in the way.
Yeah, that's it. I'm in the road. Damn. I just have to step into that infinite possibility to be that all the time.
She
So,
was on
yeah. How was
fire
it
today.
today? Oh,
She was,
really?
yeah,
Okay.
I loved how she circled back. So it's interesting because I thought, even though shame was on my mind,
Yeah.
because I talked about my new podcast, The Shame Game,
Yes.
I thought, no, I really have a question left over from last week, which I really want, which I really want the answer to. But it all
Yeah.
circled back.
Of
So it was
course.
all all
course.
intermingled and related. So
It can't not be.
I know, right? But the way she actually put it, I have not read that perspective anywhere. It's
Okay.
very fascinating and interesting. Which
So what was the perspective?
she said that the ego was basically created. So when we do things against our nature, against our
Yeah,
soul, which we do end up being feeling shame for, that
totally.
the ego was created to make that possible,
Mm,
to facilitate
that's
that,
interesting.
to
That's interesting.
facilitate the disconnection, because
Mm,
we're choosing to disconnect.
yeah,
So
yeah,
in order to, that's free will, we choose to
yeah,
disconnect from the soul. And so
totally.
therefore the ego was brought in to facilitate the disconnection and
Okay.
to protect the self from wanting to be truthful or
Yeah,
want,
yeah, yeah.
just
Or
like
self-combusting or
perspective
something.
I have never ever heard of.
It's
And I've read
interesting.
a lot and seen a lot on that, but it just makes total sense, doesn't it?
It does. It does make total sense. I mean, if you think about our natural state of being, like if we were fully in the natural state of being, my understanding and the conversations I've had with Amit is that, highly evolved beings, which she is, they don't have laws and rules and police and because they're in tune with the natural state of the universe, right?
Yes.
And so
Yes.
I'm gathering what she's saying here is because of that, they don't need an ego because the ego, as you've said, helps them to facilitate going against that. And without the ego, I don't know, maybe the body self combusts or something, or well, it's not possible. You couldn't go against it.
You can't go against it. You can't actually go against it or hide or have
Yeah.
or be deceptive. So,
Yes. That's
when
more to
we
the
do
point.
something and we don't own up to that we've done
Yes.
something because we're
Yes.
embarrassed or feel ashamed,
Totally. Totally.
where if we're always speaking the truth
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
no deception,
Yes.
then we would
Don't need
always
the
be
ego.
speaking the truth, like in
We
every
would.
instance.
We
And it's
would.
interesting that I made this commitment 2 days ago I actually announced it out aloud that I am
Right.
committed to 100% speak the truth, even if it hurts somebody else, no matter
Yes.
how tiny the issue is or whatever, that I will always speak the truth. Always speak the truth.
Yeah. I love that. The funny part about that? I mean, I've been in a couple of situations more than once, and I'm sure you have too, where you have to sort of confront someone and speak to them about a difficult situation, but a truthful situation you think might hurt them. Almost every time I've done that from the heart, from the truthfulness, from the universal connection, the other person's gone, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I should, blah, blah, blah. I think now, based on what we're saying, is if an ego then tries to do that with another ego, then defense comes up. And then someone says, oh, Eleni, how mean. You're so mean to call me that or tell me that truth. How dare you? Whereas when there's no ego there from either side, both sides can feel into the truth of the
Oh my
conversation,
God.
right? So I
So
had
much.
this, I'll tell you that, my thing was, and it's simple, right, is that in my course, I have a level 1 and a level 2, and a couple of level 1 people said, I want to do level 2 right now. And I thought, oh, well, I'll give them a go, right? Because I was thinking, let's fast track it, me being silly. Anyway, after a week, I realized that was the wrong decision. And they were so enthusiastic and keen. I thought, oh, I've got to go back and tell them that this isn't going to work. So I just fell into it and I just went, the truth is the energetics of it, like the true energetics of it is not right. They're not honoring the process. I'm not honoring the process, right? Because there's a step process to this.
Yeah.
None of us are honoring the process. So I just went out and just said, look, I'm really sorry, but I don't feel this is honoring the process. And they felt into it. You're right. Actually, I was going to come and have a chat to you about it because I didn't feel like I was honoring the process. Do you know what I mean? Like, we just know.
We
So if
just
there's no
know.
ego, you just know what's right and what's not right.
We just know. That is an absolute perfect example because
Yeah,
they were feeling into the truth.
totally.
And if you hadn't said the truth, then there's going to be this misalignment
Ah,
going on, and
just awkward and
it's going to go
yeah,
for longer, right?
yeah, and everyone starts feeling bad, you know,
Exactly,
and
exactly.
yeah, it's a
The
little
same
bit the
thing.
elephant in the room sort of thing. When the elephant in the room's brought out, everyone goes, "Yep, you're right, totally get it, that is right," and I think that's sort of what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about. When we're saying I'm committed to truth, I'm not saying that,
No,
I'm sitting here lying to everybody, but
no,
that
no.
kind of situation where you just come out and you say it exactly as it is.
And I think if you do that with that soul aspect, then you won't hurt the other person. Do you know what I
No.
mean? Like you'll sit there and go, I've got to say this. Oh God, this might hurt. They might not like it. Do I say it? But if you do it in the right way, then everyone just goes, yeah, okay, cool. No, I get it. Yeah. And we all
Yeah.
feel into the same truth.
I think, you said do it in the right way. And I think the right way is with your heart open.
Totally.
So not
I
with the
agree.
blaming, not with the
No,
attacking, but with your heart
not with
open,
ego.
not
Keep
with
that out.
ego.
Yeah.
So I had the same thing happen to me yesterday or the day before.
Okay.
So I had employed a lady to be a ghostwriter of my next book
Oh,
because I
yeah.
just couldn't be bothered doing it.
Fair enough.
And she submitted her first chapter, and it just
No,
wasn't.
the energy's not
It
right.
just wasn't right. And I was like completely deflated. And I said to her, but I didn't want to call her quits. I'd already paid her a whole stack of
Yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I said to her, this is sort of what I expect next time. If you can please polish up this chapter. And I went through all these points, and she sent an email back and she said, you know what, Eleni, with all my heart, I really feel that this is not a good fit. And then she said that it
Wow.
was like a release and
Of
a relief
course.
for
Yeah.
me because it
Yeah.
wasn't a good fit. I felt it.
No.
And
Yeah.
I also then knew nobody else can write my book. Like nobody can, because this is a
I know.
hard-based book. It's not a
There.
mindset book. I have
Exactly.
to do this. So I
Yeah. Yeah.
needed that situation to happen to convince
Yes.
me that I just need to do it.
Yes.
And
Totally.
so because she said it with such grace and she really was beautiful about it, we just felt this beautiful connection.
Yeah.
It's ended and we're both good
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Totally. Of course it's good about it. Because when the truth is the truth, and everybody knows the truth, do you know what I mean? Whatever that truth is, whatever even the word truth means. But everybody, and this is why, again, with our need and highly evolved beings, there's not a book of laws and rules. It's embedded in our DNA or in our soul.
Yeah.
Like it's already there. So you don't grow up learning rules and how to, blah, blah, blah. It just is, you just know.
You just know. And
Just know.
she basically said, I'm going to give you everything or refund you the total amount. And I said, no, please
Wow.
keep the amount that you've already worked on.
Yeah.
That's time that you spend. And she said, she took a while to respond and she said, I meditated on it and I can't.
Yeah, nice.
Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't give you any value. And so
Yeah, wow.
I want to give it all back to you. And I said, geez, I thought, how easy was that? And we both left.
Beautiful. Feeling great.
Feeling great. I wanted to pay her.
Of
She
course.
didn't want to accept payment.
And that's okay.
In the end, it's much better than dragging out a connection that's not going to work.
I agree. I mean, imagine if everybody on the planet lived like that.
Yes.
Could you imagine? Politicians didn't lie, yeah. Oh, I don't even know why I brought that up. But anyone, do you know what I mean? And there just wouldn't be the deception. And I think I came to this planet thinking people got that. And I was actually having a moment the other day where I was just reflecting on some of the business decisions I've made. Not all of them, but just a few, right? With just a few people that when I went into the relationship, I went, I shouldn't be with this person. Do you know what I mean? Like there are relationships I've gone into where I go, yep, this is absolutely beautiful. Our relationship was fantastic. Still is, right? It's still here. Slightly different form, but still here. With John, the same sort of thing. But there's been a few that I've just, even as I was going in, I could feel that they didn't align with that. And I still went in and I did that a number of times through my career. And I think, why did I do that? One is because I felt that maybe not naively, but I felt that everyone would feel into doing the right thing. And that's not the case because people are still trapped in that ego protective, wounded self.
Yeah. And it's just interesting that, the ego was created to protect, to protect the separation.
Yes.
And to facilitate the separation. But now we no longer need to be separated from our soul.
No.
And we need to just honor the truth within us.
Totally.
At all times. Let's make that the goal, like at all times.
Let's do that.
Even when your words potentially will hurt somebody else. They're words that they need to hear.
Without a doubt. I think that's very true.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool.
Well, that was a beautiful discussion, Marcus.
Yes. Yay.
Once again,
that's
thank
good.
you for bringing in that beautiful energy. I feel her now.
Yeah.
I never used to at the beginning. I've said this before, but it just It freaks me out every time. Like as soon as she comes in, I actually feel it through my body.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
actually feel the
Yeah.
energy of Amit through my body, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why I can continue the conversation anytime.
Yeah. That's so good. It's so good. Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. It's
So
great.
thank you so much.
Ah, thank you. And thank you everyone for listening and for making this possible. And yeah, I mean, we hope that you're getting some benefit out of it and some insights and, some inner growth so that you can expand into the fullness of who
Yeah.
you are.
So
It's great.
please subscribe because,
Yes.
yeah, please subscribe. And thank you so much. Thank you, Marcus.
Yay.
Thank you,
Thank
Amit.
you. Yay. See you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to Galactic Guidance. We hope that the messages that you receive from the higher realms have brought you clarity, insight, and comfort. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Remember to stay connected to your own inner guidance and trust the journey ahead.